Good afternoon, everybody. The fourth day of Cannes, pretty much the last day, but I think the best, particularly for great content today. My name is Alex Humphreys French. I'm the Associate Director for Marketing and Advertising Technology at Propeller Group, B2B PR and growth marketing agency, who have actually brought this together. Famous for this, famous for the Cannes list, and famous for Ben Titchmarsh, or Titchmarsh is famous for this, I don't know, either way. And
famous for heat.
And his great shirts, right? Bear with me, it is hot. We are on the fourth day. I normally have this down to a T and in my mind, so I'm going to use this as a bit more of a prompt than I normally would. I want to make sure we get this right, because I think it's a really important conversation today. I think I'm a technologist. I love technology. I have a master's degree in it, and I've worked in it for years and years, and I think everybody here is definitely in the same sort of environment as well, that expertise from commercial development and delivering connection with audiences as well. I think that's the most important part here as well. So I'm going to read a bit off. I am a bit of a digital culturist, if that makes sense, and I like a bit of theory. So I'm going to shove in a couple of psychologists in here and a futurist as well. So bear with me. Technology is no longer something businesses are simply experimenting with. AI, automation, and data-driven systems are increasingly becoming part of the infrastructure that powers marketing, customer experience, operations, and, of course, decision-making as well. But that shift is changing the conversation big time, I think. The question is no longer whether organizations should adopt these technologies. I think it's now the question is how do they do it responsibly? Here's a bit of theory for you. Psychologist Sherry Turkle warned that technology isn't simply a tool, it shapes how we communicate and connect with one another. And I think that's really important there. That connection is definitely a big trend and a conversation that I've seen this week. And I think that connects very firmly with trust. I think they work hand in hand. And a futurist, Ray Kurzweil, argues that AI is not separate from humanity, but an extension of human capability as well. So, you know, I was talking to somebody earlier, they said augmentation. I think that's another big word this year. Utilizing our human expertise, connections, and using technology to augment and enhance that as well. And the bottom line from a business point of view, we are here to automate, create efficiencies, drive the commercial value as revenue. But the bottom line is we can't forget about the humans as well, because we buy from humans. We don't buy products, we buy humans. And those trust, those relationships as well. So before I dive in and introduce you to everybody, a quick show of hands before we kick off. Who thinks technology is making business better? I'm glad that you've all put your hand up. That's really important there, otherwise we haven't got a conversation here. Now keep your hand up if you also think it's making trust harder to earn. There we go. So that's why we're here, right? So just a quick one. I'd love for you guys to just one-liner, who you are, what you do, what your company is, and then we're going to dive into some of the questions. Tim?
Hey, it's great to be here. Thank you. I'm Tim Rogers. I'm the founder and CEO of Ace Workflow. We're an operations company. So we go into fix broken workflows for marketing teams. Yeah, it's really exciting to be here. This is a great panel.
Hi everyone, I'm Shapria Dev-Prokaisto. I am founder of Connect Growth, which is a growth consultancy. I've worked across marketing, agency side for about 20 years, big tech, and currently lead transformation for hosting.com. So I'm now starting to really understand the infrastructure that enables our businesses to thrive.
Hi, my name is Ula Nan. I'm Global Vice President responsible from Stalia AI, which is a company based in London. And I'm responsible for media, entertainment, brands, and e-commerce. So I'm not educated in AI. I'm international relations, but I work with AI for many years, since about 2014, before most of the people had access to any AI solutions. And yeah, really, really good day, good panel. Look forward to our discussion.
I think AI was called machine learning back then, or didn't use Boolean logic. Are we dropping the tech terms yet? Hello, everyone. I am Laura Foster. I am the SVP of Global Marketing at GumGum. GumGum is the mindset company, and what that means is we use any intelligence available to us to better understand humans. That is our goal. You have to use tech to do that, because to understand a human being and really listen to them is not as easy as saying, oh, she's 35. I'm not, but I'll keep saying I am. And a woman, and in the south of France. All of those things describe me, but they are not the only thing that makes me me.
Absolutely. I think still to this day, I don't think it's AI anyway. It is machine learning, right? It's still logic based. It's ones and zeros basically. It's logic. Yes. No, yes, no.
Rebrand.
Exactly,
it's
right?
maths.
It is maths. We're not quite there with artificial intelligence, but obviously us marketers thought AI sounds much better than machine learning, and definitely all the movies have definitely created that side of things. Anyway, I want to lean straight into the point here around the commerciality of things. I think that's really important. And Tim, I'm going to go over to you because you've been developing a lot of AI or artificial machine learning.
Get it right.
I think we need to look at, how do businesses balance that commercial pressure to really start moving things faster and maintain trust. And a big word, I haven't really heard authenticity this week, but it definitely has been a big theme over the years. Create that can't speak. You can tell it's day 4. Authenticity and meaningful customer experiences.
Yeah, so I think that's interesting, but I think that's maybe like the wrong binary. I mean, I think if you think about automating using AI, workflow automations, what have you, really, if you automate the wrong things, you erode trust immediately across your team and your customers. And really, we see a lot of clients actually coming in to take away the decision-making, the agency of their employees, and that's the thing that instantly just erodes everything. But if you take away the rinse and repeat, the manual tasks, like the noise around the work, and you actually free people up to do what they were hired to do in the first place, then you empower people. And that's a huge, huge shift because, for like the last couple of 100 years, we've really treated people like software. It's like, do this, do that, use this tool, speak to this person. But the cool thing is we have AI that can actually do that for us now. So then the question becomes, what are you doing with those people? And how do you shift them from a operator to a conductor? How do you empower them to actually change what they think work is in order to become more empowered and to accelerate and do everything else? And so, yeah, I think it's such an incredible time, but I think you really have to reset everything. This is an incredible piece of technology, and it's not just about replacing what we've been doing before, it's about fundamentally changing everything.
I mean, businesses and everybody, we got to talk about AI. I was at London Tech Week the other week in London, and everything was AI-driven that, AI delivered that. I don't care.
I don't know what it means anymore. I hear it and I'm like, blink, blink, blink,
Tell me your solution. What's the challenge? I know what my challenges are, but how are you that solution? Don't tell me you're just AI.
Well, also, it's, at the end of the day, AI, machine learning, all of it's pipes. It's plumbing. I'm bored, right? When it is done right, it doesn't replace humans. When it is, I'm so glad we're all coming around to that too. It felt like for a hot minute there, the entire world was like, oh, great, we can lay off 200,000 people and AI will do it all. And you come to Cannes and you listen to every single panel and every single conversation. It's like, no, we need humans. We just tried that. Didn't work. Hire people again. And I know that's not what the boardroom wants to hear, but it is the reality.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, Priya, where are you seeing businesses doing it right, and where are they rushing too much? Where are they creating issues?
So, I mean, it all starts at the boardroom, and that pressure to be able to, grow and generate income and revenue. Where leaders are able to stop, think, and really bring their employees into the conversation is where you're seeing it happening, right? Because ultimately, the starting point is the human, right? You're trying to replace the starting point. Where does that get you? Nowhere. So when leaders are able to stop and hold off on the pressure, and actually, crowdsource solutions with their teams, they're the experts. They've been doing this for decades. They have all the answers. They'll also tell you where they're struggling. fix those struggles first. So what we do a lot is prototyping. So we do prototyping, we pilot, we test, and you fail sometimes, but then you win as well, and you take those forward. Those are the businesses that are getting it right, and it's those that are rushing, not able to keep their boards at bay. They're the ones that are struggling.
I think you talk about the board there. So of course, revenue, commercial. We do PR, for example, right? We end up talking to the FDs a lot. Okay, where are you moving the dial? I mean, we can talk about numbers, we can talk about metrics, brand lift, etc., and share of voice from a PR point of view. But the FD, wants to know the bottom line. Where are the leads? So that you've got to think outside the box from that sense. I think Laura, from the marketing perspective, do you think sometimes brands are over-optimizing for all these metrics and overthinking almost at the expense of long-term trust, I think, is the bottom line?
Yeah. So I work in the advertising technology space, and I started my career as a creative. And for a lot of years, the conversation was around dynamic creative, sort of the exact right message to the exact right person at the exact right time. Every time I say it, I twitch a little bit because it's somewhere in my brain. It's like a little worm. It crawls out every once in a while and says, say it again, say it again. But I look at it that way. We created 2 million different ads. Why? And we did it with the right goal in place to try to meet a human where they are. Or we, put people into 2 million different categories. The reality is where is the line? Where do we lose the brand message in that race to try to create more, in that race to try to meet people where they are? And where do we actually stop treating them like they're human at all? It's like, there's 2 million images because there's a map for your local. Okay, I didn't look at it. So technology for technology's sake is something that I'm interested in. The other thing I'm thinking about a lot is AI and the rise right now. I question if we were all crushing our numbers and if there wasn't a looming threat of a global recession, would AI be at the heart of every single one of our conversations? I'm not sure it would. I still think it's a beautiful tool. But right now it is being used as the answer to try to drive revenue and try to drive growth, and not being used as the answer to find patterns and find things that actually matter.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone's rushing to speed, cost, blah, 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 but we really push to find something that you could never have done before, right? Once you get to that place, it's like a kaleidoscope of all of this possibility. But
That's where it gets really fun.
Yeah, but the social media thing is interesting, right? I think that's such a waste of, I'm sorry for anyone that works in social, but I think creating all of these individual variants of ads and performance, we just had humans fighting the algorithm, and it's not the best work, I would say, right? But I think that's a perfect place. You're gonna get AI to do image video generation, you're gonna feed that to the algorithm, and they're gonna fight each other off. And the human's is gonna conduct it, right?
Yeah, to judge which ones are actually good that it generates.
Right.
And also, hopefully, if we do our human jobs right, to figure out which one is entirely bias and which one isn't.
I think we've got to talk about the customers, the consumers, the audience here as well. You mentioned millions of pieces of content being automated, machined out, basically. It's on the conveyor belt, essentially. It loses that, again, authenticity, that connection side of things as well. Ula, how far does it go until the customer, the consumers, the audience start going, no, this is too much now, we can't tolerate this?
Yeah, so where I sit, because at Sally, we build the full stack operating system for the companies to kind of give the power to companies to put all the little pieces, all the fragmented things into one place, to be kind of independent, because technology is growing so fast. You want to have the ability to be agile and work with who you want to work as a company, as a brand, right? But for me, what I can see is we need to get the best person or machine for that job in that time, so the biggest sort of movement now I can see at the market is, and those platforms kind of helps you to figure that out, is we don't need AI to know that 2 + 2 is 4, right? There's some things that it's kind of obvious and we don't need to use AI. For some things we can use simple automation. For some things we need to use human. Like there's some elements of the business, like for example, accountability, judgment or creative work that shouldn't be given to the machine at the end. So we need to basically start building workflows, mixing up things that they are needed for the, who's the best for that job, and then orchestrate that in the one place. Because, on one side, what I see at the market is there are enterprises that they are not allowed to use AI because it's dangerous, you want to protect IP, you want to protect data. On the other hand, there are companies that are overusing it. So they actually ask everyone to use and build agent for anything they need, but they actually swamp with like lots of tools, because if you know how to create your own agent, you want to have your own, right? You don't want to have somebody else's one. And then what would you do with that? Which one is the best, So we, coming somewhere in the middle where we can put things we need to do first, then see who is the best for the job. If it's AI, it's machine learning, it's automation, is a human, and then put them onto one platform for orchestration to ensure that, everything works together like an orchestra, of different instruments. So at the end, the business value is the most crucial things to have.
I think, yeah, so we're looking at the sort of integration, the adoption of these tools. How far do you go? Laura, from your side of things, like, marketing, advertising, we started to understand us deeper and deeper and deeper. Where does it get to a point where you're utilizing AI tools, automation, understanding, and it gets almost too intrusive? It's too personalized.
Oh my gosh.
Where's that line?
We've already crossed it.
Yeah?
We crossed it a long time ago, and then we were told by the humans on the other end of it, please do not do this anymore. And we had governments that responded with legislation against it. I think we created our own problem the moment we said, we target people. We segment people. We tie them to a user ID. I hate the word user. It's something whenever I see it, I kind of lose my mind. We don't sell drugs. They are human beings on the other ends of the ads. They're not users. They're humans. And I'm starting to shudder at the word consumer, too. Consumer is just another word that we've used to replace the idea that it's a human on the other end. The flip side of that is when you try to put everybody in tight little boxes and only speak to them because they fit a specific profile that a machine generated. Anytime you as a creative or as a marketer receive a brief for anything at the beginning of a campaign, when you're trying to use a human being to actually concept something, it starts with their age and it starts with their gender. People are not operating the same as they were 50 years ago, and the data is still compounded from the last 50 years. AI looks back. Women are having babies later in life. Men are getting married later in life. A lot of people aren't getting married at all. They're not having kids at all. The milestones have changed. And yet AI wants to say all the milestones are the same. So where I think AI is beautiful is, what if you don't have to start with that being the box? What if it's not just age and gender? What if you can actually look at all the possibilities in that moment, weigh them, score them, and then decide what actually matters to the person on the other end? You don't have to put people in little binary boxes when you can see patterns and when you can use data to create those patterns faster than ever before.
I'm just going to come in very quickly on that. You're bang on, right? We've created a very complex world for ourselves, and now we're trying to build tools to be able to navigate that complex world. I think it has a place. I think AI has it's fantastic at, bringing all those data points together. I'm a bit of a data geek. But it's impossible for me to be able to know all of the data points that I could have available. It's impossible for me to compute that very quickly. I can do that with AI. The question is what do I do with that afterwards, right? So I can use AI to be able to bring all that data together, to give me some points, some opinions. It's up to me, though, the intelligent one, to be able to ask the right questions. And that's what we need to do more of, is ask questions of it. test it, share it, and then actually you'll be able to create something much more beautiful.
Yeah, and if I may add here, it's about the right questions, because in terms of the personalization, there are three elements there. You need to have permission. You need to also, it need to be like proportionate. So not asking about everything, you need to kind of have a clear value why you're asking different questions, because with the personalization, it's like a wall in between. It's fine for people if something is personalized, if they feel that the machine they feel understood, right? But you're crossing the border where people feel they observed or they are kind of
The
viewed
moment
all
they-
the
they
time, right?
know
And
that's the moment it's too far.
yes,
Like,
exactly.
The analogy I like to use is, you go on a first date with somebody. Maybe you met them on the internet. In this day and age, you probably met them on the internet. You Google them. You find their social profile. And we all do this, right? Like, we can admit it now. I'm married. I Googled the hell out of him. I knew his LinkedIn. I knew his coworkers, But I don't walk into our first date and go, saw you were in Cabo with your mom. Maybe we should go to Cabo next year. Here's a trip for $299. Should we go? No. You say,
Would that not work?
it didn't for me the one time I tried it.
How was your holiday 6 years ago?
Exactly.
I mean, that's a bit weird.
It's creepy. And yet,
How did you
in
know?
ads, we do that and we call it retargeting. We do it all the time and we all accept it. But as humans, we don't accept it. But you can ask something like, do you like to travel? Where have you most recently traveled? It guides the conversation. It's not the conversation.
So who do we think should be accountable for this? Supriya, you mentioned the board. Is that at the top there? What are your thoughts?
If you're choosing to, which is what a lot of people are doing, replace humans with AI, yeah, you are accountable for it. But having said that, I think anyone that is using the tools needs to know they are accountable for it. So it does trickle down across the organization, right? But if you're making business decisions, of course, the leadership has to take accountability. But everyone is accountable for the output.
So, it starts to get really interesting. So we worked with a client that has an overseas BPO team. We automated a bunch of stuff, and we've reduced that team in half. Now, by the end of the year, it'll be 0. The argument is, is that something, obviously that's someone's job and livelihood, but also, is that good? Is that good work? Is that, you're dealing with multiple time zones, their life is out of sync with, just natural circadian rhythms? I feel like the replacement of jobs is, first of all, replacing the things that humans do not want to do. And then that, I think, empowers people to then come back round again, back into the workplace and do exactly what they want to do, rather than fitting in this box. So, yeah, it's a difficult one.
Yeah, I think what I was talking about is, and maybe I misunderstood the question, but if anything goes wrong, who is accountable? That's what I meant by it.
Yeah,
So if you're
there's like
choosing,
a final accountability.
as opposed to the accountability of the person, I think that's quite a complex piece. But if you're talking about if things go wrong and you are using tools, you've made a choice on that tool, and I think there is some accountability there.
I think, from an advertising point of view, you've got to think about brand safety. So there has to be safeguarding within that environment as well. So, and it's wide ranging from workforce as well. Unfortunately, we only have half an hour, but I'd love to turn this into an hour, and we can go down a rabbit hole. But it's also 30 odd degrees, so we
You
don't
guys
wanna
can
do
leave.
that.
We'll just stay here and go straight.
It will be cooked here in an hour.
Accountability. There's validation. There's safeguarding from the tech environment point of view. How do you create that? How do you add the human aspect to it? Is there an off switch? Is there do you see
The
where
kill
I'm-
switch?
Sorry.
Like Terminator?
Yeah.
No, we don't have that. No, listen, I think what we see is basically every company gets it reversed. So what happens is someone's at a yacht and someone's trying to sell some tech, and the C whatever will buy the tech this week, go back to New York, because everyone here is from New York. It's crazy, but that's what we do. And then they'll go, hey, everybody just use this tool. And then everybody goes, well, this doesn't even do what I need to do. So the flip side is obviously, what we do is we like understand exactly how does the team work? What jobs do they not like doing? If you automate that first, you get instant buy-in, and you get instant trust, and the employees feel heard, right? We're not just forcing work down their mouths, so.
Is that how you approach it when you walk into a new team? Do you sit down and say, like, what do you guys not like doing?
Yeah, so we have a team of AI agents that basically you upload the org chart, and at a click of a button, we send AI agents and we interview every single employee.
Love it.
And we get down to the nitty gritty of, and number one, it's copy paste. It's like I have to download the CSV from here, I have to format it, and then I have to upload it over here.
Yep.
I don't know who likes that.
No, no one does. And also, those problems happen because we're all trying to move so quickly. So the engineering team builds the proof of concept, and then everyone says, yeah, that's good enough, launch it. And then you have 90 different manual things that a human has to do on the back end because we didn't build it the right way in the first place because we needed to launch it. And so, all for that.
We call it Frankenstack, when
Oh,
you
yeah.
put lots of things
Yeah,
together and you power by people on the ground
But you do.
where they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But you do need to speak to the people, because maybe not things that they don't like, but things they're struggling with. What are the challenges that they're seeing that actually you could be solving in a very different way?
I think we've got 5 minutes to go, just as a pre-warning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I know, right? We could talk about it for ages. I do want to lean on the trust side of things. So you kind of started leaning into it there around transparency, the usage of AI as well. Ula, from the customer, consumer, the audience point of view, does it have an impact on how transparent you are about using AI?
Oh, absolutely. It's a massive advantage. It's to be or not to be for the business, because in some sense, as trust, that you can't measure trust in a way, but you can measure impact it has on your business. So you can measure, if people using your tools or wherever you build, like with AI, are there many complaints? What's your churn looks like? Are people happy to share their data with you? And those are all the signals from the company to know is if your customers are trusting your business, your technology or not. So those measures are actually showing you how trustful your business is.
So you're saying, Supriya, can organizations actually quantify the commercial impact of trust? Now, you mentioned it there, Ula, not really, but it's around impact. So do you have the same thoughts on that?
I do. So hosting itself as a product is very commoditized and very, very low value. And what hosting businesses actually sell on is their ability to support their customers, their users. And that is built on trust, right? So you will buy from a hosting business if you trust that they're going to be there to be able to support your business, make sure that the infrastructure doesn't fall down, make sure that all the security and the privacy guardrails are in place. That is all based on trust. So trust then transpires in the bottom line, right? In the number of complaints, in support resolution. So when we're using AI, for example, we need to resolve things very, very quickly. So, the first thing is a lot of it is rinse and repeat. So rinse and repeat stuff, let's get the chatbots supporting our clients instantaneously, but then very quickly, let's move them on to a real person when it hasn't got the answer. And it needs to know when it hasn't got the answer. So we work very closely to be able to earn trust, maintain trust. That maintaining trust is really, really key, because you can lose trust really quickly, and that will show up in your numbers. That will show up in your churn numbers big time.
Laura, are you thinking the same from the marketing point of view? In terms of, I think you've already touched on it a bit. We have crossed that line a bit in terms of being over-personalized, knowing when you're on holiday 6 years ago, et cetera, right? But from a brand trust point of view, what's your thoughts? What's your approach to it? Because I'm assuming you're using AI technology to optimize.
Absolutely.
Efficiency.
I think if you're not assuming everyone that you talk to is using it, you're probably not thinking. And there are some people that are staunchly against it and will never use it, but they are absolutely in the minority now. Most of us use some sort of AI, whether or not we even realize it. It's inside of our emails. It's just auto-populating there now, right? So we're all using it. Listen, I think trust is incredibly important, but I don't think people on the other end of something look at something and go, trust first. They look at something and go, does this resonate with me? Do I think this is cool? Does it make me want to do something? Is it exciting? And then later you're like, ooh, trust is a secondary thought.
Yeah.
But excitement, I think, is first. Enjoyment is first, which means creative is first and foremost. I had another point, but I don't remember it.
I think, Tim, I see you're about to say something, but I want to add as well. So Tim's company, Ace Workflow, this is a shy, it's a proud plug in a sense, actually. We talked about the Cannes list, the fringe list that Propeller's been putting and Ben's been putting together for 7 years, I think. This year we've looked at a different approach to automate it more and create a back end, and that was Tim's company. So I felt a little bit like we've... So, and I think that's really important to highlight that as well, because we created something cool and everyone talks about it. It's got our name out there. We did something that was to help the industry because there's so much going on here. And then we've utilized technology to make that forward as well. Can you very briefly just talk about that side? I'm going to get kicked off in a minute. I reckon we can push it a couple more minutes, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, so it was a Google Sheet. It was the most popular Google Sheet. Everybody took it. Everybody, Apple C, Apple A, Apple C, Apple V.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So yeah, we put a front end on it, but the most interesting part of the project, I think, is actually the time that it saved Propeller staff in terms of uploading the information. So we had workflows and agents that would validate that the event was real and all that kind of stuff, and so that sort of time saving, because obviously, it's a huge time crunch to get here, and give you all some time back.
I mean, I think part of the reason you hired Tim, though, first and foremost, is because he's Tim, right? And then you were like, Tim's doing this new AI thing. We should figure out what he's doing. Oh, I don't know. Do we really want to let him in?
Don't trust him.
We trust him. We'll let him in. But you were cool first, and then they let you in.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
We are running out. Oh, that's a bit too loud. We are running out of time, so there's a couple of sort of random quick-fire questions at the end, and I'm just going to shoot these out. And please put your hand up straight away if you want to say it. What's the biggest misconception about AI today?
I think more autonomy brings more value.
Love it. What's one human skill becoming more valuable because of AI?
Imagination.
Anyone else?
Judgment.
Anyone else?
Discernment.
Tim?
Spelling.
Spelling?
No. Hear me out.
Please,
Hear me
let's
out. Hear me out. If anyone goes into a deep vibe coding session, right? I'm talking weeks of vibe coding. Honestly, my ability to spell went way down. And look, I know we're running out of time, but I know social media is being banned for kids. Huge topic. There's a huge thing we have to figure out. I experienced it myself. I don't know. It's real. You can just blurb at the AI.
Oh yeah, I'm dyslexic. That thing knows how to read me. It does not. Sure, Laura, got you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how it remembers things. I got married last month, and I'm saying things like, well, considering you got I was talking something about finance on ChatGPT, and it was like, oh, well, considering you just got married, your dog's just had a surgery, blah, 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 you should probably not do that because you're going to be a bit tight on cash. And I was like, okay. Thanks. That's a bit much. Final question.
So you're not allowed to go to Cabo.
No, exactly.
Oh, the context, right?
Yeah,
There would be
exactly. I
more-
was like, okay, it knows too much. It's crossing the line. Where do we see businesses in 5 years' time? What's going to be their big success point utilizing AI? Are we going to be going back to artisanal bread and going back to basics? If you get my analogy there,
Yeah. I hopefully we've put it in its rightful place.
Yeah? Anyone else to add?
For me, again, I think judgment would be more important than technology. So we need to always kind of understand the context and understand where the machine could go wrong. But what's interesting, I just met yesterday Demis Hassabis. He was here in the Palais. And, in 5-10 years, the technology will be so ahead, right? It will be everywhere, in every workflow, any industry, everything. But what's interesting, like he was saying, they're thinking about, does the machine need to sleep? Does this machine need to dream to actually catch how human brain is superior still to whatever they're building.
Awesome. Anything to add before we?
I think the final thing
Yeah.
I want to say about that is, had you asked us that question last can, we all would have said AI is going to be in everything and it's going to replace human beings. So, predicting 5 years from now, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I have to be comfortable with that.
Yeah. So I have two things. Do you want to take a bet on whether or not there's going to be more CRM companies in 5 years or less? Right? There will be less. There's going to be a huge implosion of tech.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, it's going to create this explosion of creativity. Because if I can make my awesome app and you can make yours and you can make yours, who's going to use it, right? The one with the better storytelling, the branding, the design. And so, yeah, I just see an explosion of creativity and, just empowering people to be
It's a
creative.
great point. The Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a quote that always resonates me more so about politics, but it's the pendulum swings, right? And I think right now we are in the retraction of human creativity, but you're right. At the end of the day, when we can all have the exact same app that plugs into the exact same AI tools, what is the difference maker? And it's us again.
I think there will be no AI discussed. Like AI will be like, no word to say.
Well, you're talking about HTTPS, right?
I think we're going into another panel now. We are going down that rabbit hole. I'd really like to thank you guys for coming today and talking about this. We could talk about this for a lot more, and I think we'll be doing. Maybe let's have this conversation next year at Cannes as well and see where we are. We don't know. Yeah, of course, things have moved so rapidly forward, and some things are forgotten about: regulation, compliance, trust, the human aspect of things. But that's rapidly coming back, I feel already, and that's something. But yeah, big round of applause, everybody. Thank you so much.